everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Holly and I make sewing videos on YouTube. I also have a sewing Instagram page and I have a sewing blog. And for today's video I wanted to share with you what I've been making in May. And to start it off, I'm wearing the garments here. For May I decided again to make a linen sort of cord set. Over the past few months I've made linen dresses, but I really wanted to make a top and short set ready for the summer. And for this make I was gifted some linen fabric from Fabricland. This linen fabric is £7 a metre and it is a viscose and cotton linen mix, so really lovely, breathable and lovely to wear. Now for this garment, for this top garment, I actually draped it on the stand. If you follow me over on Instagram, you might have seen a few small time-lapse reels and videos of me draping this garment on the stand from start to finish. But today I thought I'd mix the videos up a bit and I will show you the whole draping process. And I think if it works, it's my first time doing a voiceover, I think I'll do a voiceover explaining exactly how I draped it on the stand while watching the steps. So that's the plan for this video. I'm going to share that sort of time-lapse video of how I made it, and yeah, and we'll come back after that. So here's time-lapse of the top. So I first started with one section of fabric because I knew I'd have a seam running down, like a princess seam down the bust. So I started marking the centre front on this section of fabric and then measuring each side so it would be even along the bust line. So that's what I'm doing now. I am then marking where I want my seam to be. So I just kind of cut down where my first seam's going to be over the bust to create the shape over the bust. And then draping a second section of fabric matching up from the seam and around the bust to the side seam. This is how you create some shape around the bust. I'm just marking that side seam there. And now I'm cutting that section of fabric off ready for the third section of fabric. There's going to be a seam down the outside, so I'm just draping the back section, marking the side seam and cutting that third section. So I just draped one large section of the back because I knew it was going to fit okay, so I was able to then cut into the shape. I'm just marking all the design seams and the waist point, so I knew where I wanted the top to finish on the waist. I then used a piece of elastic just to pin onto the stand so I could see the shape before drawing onto the fabric directly and making it all messy. So I was just adjusting that piece of elastic around just so I could see the shape. That's what I'm doing now. I'm just marking again the side seam of the other side and cutting that fabric because I wanted a side seam. Again, just draping a full section of fabric, which would be the wrap front. Again, marking the side seam and the waist point and cutting that away so it sits nice and flat. I was then working on the wrap section here. Again, using my elastic to mark and visualise where I wanted the pieces to be and just marking them out with my marker. All the way around. Now just taking that away so I can see the design line. Again, marking my centre back so I know what's what, and then cutting away the fabric around the line that I've just cut, releasing that top bit of fabric. And there you go, it's the wrap section on the back. I'm just starting draping for the strap here. I had like a shoulder seam, so I draped one section of fabric for the front and one section for the back because if I'd used one whole piece of fabric it wouldn't have sat
nicely and flush to the skin. So I needed that seam at the top and 2 sections of fabric. So I'm just marking the front and drawing where I want the main line of the strap to be, and then I worked out that I wanted it to be 4 centimeters, so I measured 4 centimeters from that first line and joined it up like that. Now, as this is a symmetrical top, I wanted to cut away the front, up the centre front, because that front section was going to be cut in the fold, so I needed the pattern piece to be a symmetrical piece. So I'm literally just cutting away the excess fabric so I can really see the design and shapes of the top I've created. I'm just marking all the markings such as centre front, side, back, and what each piece is. So when I take it off the stand, I will know what is what. This is a very important part if you're draping a design. And there we go, that's the finished.
Right, so I'm back. So you've just seen the time lapse of me draping the pattern on the stand, and now I quickly want to talk about, just briefly share the process of how you go from draping fabric on the stand of your pattern to the finished top. Okay, so there's a few steps. I personally love to drape my clothes. I find it really more, I don't know, like you can be more free with the design, it's more exciting. I just really like how that works, like actually folding and moving the fabric on the stand. But anyway, so when we last saw the time lapse, you saw the pieces of fabric. So once it's all pinned and you mark all your detail on the stand, you then unpin all these little pieces of fabric so they all look like this. So for example, this is the front wrap piece. So it's really important to make sure you put all your markings on it, such as your side seams, your centre front, those sort of things, to so when you take them off, you know what is what. And always through that process, it's always good to take photos anyway, even if you're not going to put them on Instagram like I do. It's always good to document what you're doing, so then you can always refer back to the photos. So you've got your little pieces. So for example, this is the section that was sitting there. You now iron them because you want these pieces of fabric to be really flat and show the shape. So then you're going to use this, you're going to place this piece of fabric down, and then you're going to layer a piece of paper. You need thin paper, so pattern counting paper or greaseproof paper or really thin wrapping paper. Place that over the top, and then where you have drawn your lines on, you literally trace the design. Now when I drape, I don't include a seam allowance, so this is literally the final shape of the pattern that I want. So I always have to remember on the pattern to then add your seam allowance. So then once you've traced these bits off, you will then get like a normal pattern piece. So that is the pattern piece for that front section here. I've added the seam allowance, always put your details on, and then this is your pattern that you work from, like any other normal sewing pattern. So you use that like a sewing pattern, you cut it out of the fabric. Now when I drape anything on the stand, I always make a 12 first, because for many reasons. First reason is my dress form is pretty much the same size as me. I have the small size, and it is pretty much, but there's still some measurements that are not the same. So I'm always wary of that. And two, a garment's sometimes very different to being static on the stand compared to actually wearing it. So I always like to make a toile for fittings and to test it out. So for my toiles, I always use the IKEA calico fabric. It's about £2 a metre, and it's a very lightweight calico. I prefer lightweight purely because I tend to make lightweight clothes. I don't really make that thick clothes, I always use a drapey fabric such as visco, linen, silks, those sort of things. So you really need your calico weight to match your final fabric weight to get the most accurate results. So here's my toile. Now for the toile, it's very rough, like I haven't hemmed it, I haven't done anything like that, and I always sew with about a 4 to 4.5 stitch length, purely because on the toile you're more likely to unpick the stitches for fittings, so it's just easier. If your stitch is longer, it's easier to unpick. So this is the toile. Oh, one thing I was going to say, also if you notice on the video, when draping, I only draped 1/2 of the top. This is because my design was going to be symmetrical, so to make it completely the same as the other side, I literally just cut the body in half and draped this side of it and then reflected it as if normal on a normal sewing pattern. So yeah, so this is a toile. For this toile I did have to make some alterations. For example, I had to take the straps in maybe 5-10 centimetres. The dress form has a lot longer measurements here over the shoulders and down the back than I did, so I knew I'd probably have to take that in, so that was fine. And also just I had to adjust the bust dart here because obviously my bust isn't exactly the same as the dress form. So this is the toile. Yeah, so it's very rough, and I did unpick this and resew it a few times just to make sure I got the fitting correct. So once I was happy with that, I was then ready to make it out of the final fabric. Now because I was using a linen, and it can be a little bit see-through, and because of the design I went for with a really low back, I couldn't actually wear a bra of it, so I made it double lined just to have that support, more structure to the top. And also for the wrap detail, I thought it would just be a little bit more durable. So that is the top. Right, so I've quickly changed out of the cord set and popped it on the stand to talk through some styling bits and the shorts. So you couldn't see them when I was standing up, so I changed into another linen outfit. I love linen. This is the same fabric from Fabricland. Yeah, this is a linen nice dress for summer. Right, so let's talk about the matching shorts. These are a kind of high-waisted, elasticated waisted pair of shorts. Quite short shorts. I do quite like a pair of short shorts. And it's got a faux sort of toggle detail at the front. So that doesn't do anything, it's just purely there to look nice. I've got a tutorial for this little sort of hack over on my blog. So yeah, I'll leave that link below if you want to just add on this little detail. I think it really makes, you know, like a elasticated garment just a little bit more of a detail. Anyway, so these are the shorts. These shorts, you know, you probably know if obviously you sew because you're watching the video, but you know when you have one of those garments or projects as everything goes wrong and you're just like, I just need to continue. Shall I restart? Shall I just start it again? Shall I abandon it? Oh my goodness, these shorts. I first made these shorts so big. My mum actually said to me, I think my dad could fit in those shorts. And I was like, I don't know what's happened to these shorts. So I was like, I'm not going to waste. And they were beautifully made, if I say so myself. They were so nicely sewn. And I was like, oh, I can't let them go to waste. So I managed to adapt them. And now they actually fit the best any pair of shorts fit me, like strangely. So it worked out really well. And I was really glad that I like kept on going through them. So yeah, these I self-drafted the pattern for these. I used my trouser block. I didn't drape these. Yeah, these just a standard trouser block, and a pattern. So I really need to adapt that pattern because it was so big. I don't know what happened. I know my measurements were wrong. I don't know. But anyway, these are a matching pair of linen shorts. I did an Instagram reel showing like the outfit. So I can leave that link below if you want to see me wearing the shorts more, because I know the video is obviously going to cut off to my waist and you're going to actually see the fit. So yeah, these are just a simple pair of 2 pattern pieces at the front, 2 pattern pieces at the back, and 2 pattern pieces down the side to make kind of like a cool, you know, seam detail, which looks quite cool when it's wearing, and it gives you such like extra shape and fit. So yeah, these are really nice. I think these are going to be really nice for the summer, like a really comfy soft pair of shorts. So I'm really excited to wear them. In my shorts, for these shorts also I double lined them as well, because I didn't want them to be completely sheer, because I know they're going to be quite fitted and I really didn't want to see underwear for it. Like one layer of white fabric, linen fabric, sometimes you can see through. So I decided to double layer them, and it's given it a bit more structure. Yeah, so yeah, it worked out really well. So those are the shorts. Quickly, lastly, I wanted to just talk about how the top is constructed and sewn. As I said, this is double lined. So basically I cut out, oh, let me show you back. I don't know if I've shown you back. That is the wrap detail around the back. I particularly wanted for the design detail for the straps to kind of go along in this nice angular kind of line, which I think worked really well. So that is the back. I was talking to, so how it's constructed also. This is one piece down the front, which is cut on the fold, so I got a complete mirror image. I've got one piece here down the side to the side seam for shape, and then I've got this piece runs from the side seam all the way round. Let me untie it. And I've also got a seam here just because I didn't have the length of fabric, but this could in theory be one piece of fabric. And this seam sits at the side seam, so it runs nicely. And then just a tie. I also really like on the Instagram reel, I styled it like this in a nice, oh, a better bow than that. There we go. A nice bow. Oh, that doesn't look good. There we go. Yeah, and the bow like that. So that is, it's just a bit of a variation, which is really nice. A wrap top like this is really good for maybe a first time sewer or first fittings, because you have got that little bit of wiggle room with the fit to just tie up at the back. And also there's no fastenings, no buttons, no zips, anything like that. So that is the top. It's been double lined. So how I did it, I made in theory 2 of the same tops, bodices, and I made the straps separately out of 2 sections of fabric and bagged them out. And then I attached the 2 bodices together along this seam here. And while I was doing that, I sort of attached the straps inside, sandwiched them between the 2 layers of fabric. So I stitched all that together, and then on the bottom, I literally just pressed 1 centimetre seam allowance up, like wrong sides together, sandwiched them together and got it completely flat, so they were literally symmetrical, and then top stitched all the way around the bottom. So that is the top. So thank you for watching today's video, all about what I've been making in May. Yeah, if you want to see more of progress pictures and see what I'm making throughout the months, I'll leave my Instagram handle down below. I also have a sewing blog as well, with lots of tips and tricks and hacks and tutorials as well. If there's a sewing skill that you want to learn, go and check that out. And also I'd love you if you could hit subscribe and like this video, because it really helps my sewing channel. So yes, and I will see you again soon for the next video. The next video I will be talking about the dress that's in the background, which is really lovely. So yeah, I think that'll be in a couple of weeks time, the next video, I think, hopefully. But anyway, I will see you again soon. Thank you for watching.